All right, here we go. Let's see. Today is June 28th, 2007, and we have some, we'll have to edit that out. Okay. First of all, we'll go Grandpa and then Grandma.
Excuse me, 20, I thought 24.
That's 28.
Oh, I lost a week.
Yes. Okay, first Grandpa, what is your full name and why were you named it? Full name?
James Edward Scribner. Edward is after my dad's middle name.
Okay. And James came
Scribner was because I was in the Scribner family.
Grandma, what is your full name and why were you named it?
Oh, my full name is Glenna Knudsen, and they named me Glenna because I cried every time they called me Georgianetta.
Georgianetta?
That was the other name. They couldn't figure out. For 3 months I went without a name, and so all my brothers and sisters called me Penny because I was so little.
Oh, this is fantastic. Okay, perfect.
Georgianetta.
Well, I like your name. Okay. Let's see. So one of the questions was, did either one of you have a nickname? But you had Penny.
Penny.
Did you have
Jimmy?
Jimmy. So Jimmy and Penny. And why'd they call you? They called you Penny. Okay, we have the answers here.
Well, I'll bet there was a really different. When I was born, I was only 6 pounds.
Oh.
And when they saw me, my oldest sister said, "She's no bigger than a penny."
That's fantastic. Okay. Did you ever have any other nicknames as adults?
Scrib.
Scrib?
Scrib.
Why is that? In coaching?
Scribner.
Well, is that a coaching nickname?
Yes, they did.
They practically never call me Jimmy.
Out in PE, it was very relaxed, so that's...
Oh, okay.
Scrib, Scribby, you know.
And what do other family members call you now?
For supper, sometimes.
Well, his brother...
Not often enough.
Yeah. Bob still calls you Jimmy.
No, I mean, she says, what do they call you? I said, not often enough.
Not often enough.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, they call me Jim now.
Jim? All right. We just call you Grandpa. Grandma, where were you born and when?
Blue Water, New Mexico.
Okay.
9/29/29.
Oh, what a great birthday. Okay, Grandpa, where and when?
Farmington, New Mexico, February the 6th, 1930.
Ooh.
4 months younger than my lovely
And
wife.
every time I had my birthday, I said, "You better respect your elders."
That's perfect. Do you remember hearing your grandparents describe their lives?
I never knew my grandparents. They were too poor to visit us, and we were too poor to visit them.
Okay. Grandma, do you remember your grandparents?
Oh, yes.
And did they have any childhood stories?
Oh, yes.
Can you name any of them or tell us one?
I can tell you, my great aunt came across with the pioneers, Mormon pioneers, and they had one of those great big cooking kettles they used to do their washing and things in, hung on the back of their wagon. And her and her little brother got so tired, Joe, because walk, you may not ride. He walked every day, all day long. And so they used to, when nobody's looking, they take turns climbing into that rest. And she said, it swung like this.
I didn't even know we had any pioneer heritage.
Oh yes, and in the group that was moving, I had my great grandmother, Margaret. If you look in the records, she was 12. Well, by then she was 13. Real pretty blonde girl, and the Indian chief that had been watched them as every night he'd come down to their campfire. You stop it. Campfire, and he wanted to buy that little blonde girl.
Oh.
And he'd give her, first it was like 5 horses, then they'd give them 20 horses.
Oh, she must have been a knockout.
And they had to really say, no, we don't sell our girls.
Well, they should have. That was a good deal. Let me push pause here. Alright, in business here.
There's lots of pioneer stories, I mean, early stories, but it would take so long. When we come down again, I'll just sit and really tell a lot of stories if you want.
Well, I want them all.
True stories, about my mother and their family and,
I have a story about my grandfather.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold that thought. Let me move this little one. Let me press pause. I need to get this story. Where's pause? Hold on.
Yes, he's getting old.
She went like this. I said, well, thanks a lot. You show me yours and I'll show you mine.
I said, I hope that's true.
Oh, I left it on. Okay, Grandpa, tell us a story about your grandfather.
The way I hear it from a cousin is that my grandfather was a very athletic young man, and he was engaged to be married to this girl. And he also had an appointment to West Point, and he was out hunting one time, and he put a shotgun over a fence. He was going to climb over a fence. He and the shotgun went off and shot off 4 or 5 fingers of his hand, and because of that, he became very, very depressed and lost his appointment to West Point, and the girl.
Because he was so depressed?
Didn't marry the girl either. For one reason or another, I don't know.
Oh, sad. That's so interesting. Do you have any pictures of him?
No.
No pictures? Okay. And do either one of you remember your great-grandparents?
The answer here, of course, is no.
No? Because you've never met your own grandparents?
Never even met my grandparents.
Never?
Never. Wow. Now, my older brother took my mother one time back to see them. So he got to see them, but this was in the later years. I got to see my aunt.
Your aunt?
She turned out, she finally died at 103.
Oh, wow.
But she told us a couple of things about her father, about her riding in the back of a wagon when they were moving,
Yeah. Oh, I can't believe that. I feel like I need you guys closer together somehow. Let me, let me fix your chair. Are we having problems here? There you go.
Yes.
Alright. We'll get Spencer to edit for us. Oh, that's much better. That's more like it. Okay. Grandma, who's the oldest person you can remember in your family as a child?
Ooh. I remember both of my Canusan grandparents and my grandmother and my step-grandfather on my mother's side.
Really?
They were all,
So you did get close then. Was there a chore that you really hated to do as a child?
big bread.
2. I'm first.
Oh, excuse me.
2 things. Take out the trash and whole weeds. Whole weeds. Anyway, kill the weeds.
You hated the weeds. Your grandma?
Well, I didn't like the weeds either, but I didn't like baking bread because my mother always had to soak it up, feed it to the chickens.
Oh.
I like baking bread now, but I didn't then.
You know
Oh, I forgot about chopping the wood and bringing in the wood and coal for our stoves.
Yeah.
Okay, with that in mind, what would you consider to be the most important inventions that have been made during your lifetime?
Oh, there are many. The most important.
To you?
Computers, probably.
Computers? Grandma?
Oh, I don't know. Not that. You got to remember, I'm very, very old.
Dishwashers.
Well, I had kids I was raising for that.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Well, I don't know. I telephoned. I loved when I was in high school before we ever had our first telephone.
Oh, really? Oh, fantastic. My kids think it's funny that we didn't have cell phones when I was a kid. They can't imagine that.
I remember we had one where you had to wind it up.
Yes,
Really?
I remember those.
I've seen them on TV. Okay, let's see. What kind of books did you guys like to read?
They were comic books, but nobody ever called them comic books. We called them funny books.
Funny books?
And we would buy them, the people who were selling them would tear off the covers and send the covers back and they'd get reimbursed. And therefore they'd sell them in stacks of about 25, all tied up with string.
Oh.
And you'd go in and buy 25 comic books and then take them home, go out under a tree and sit there and read
We
them.
did the same thing.
Oh, fantastic.
It really helped me to learn how to read.
Really? Interesting. Do you remember having a favorite nursery rhyme or bedtime story?
We used to listen to my mother tell about her life. That was always around the dinner table at night or sitting in on the couch.
Oh.
My mother was always singing, while she was doing housework, my mother sang to me a little ditty in an Irish way, and so on.
And the old bucket, I remember seeing her here.
And
Let's hear
the
it.
old oaken bucket.
Sing it for us.
And there was a song that ended in my name. She used to sing it to me when I was hanging around.
Yeah?
Something about da-da-da-da-da and Jimmy or something.
Cute. So she put your name in it?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
There's no other who does that with the kids now.
Oh, Grandpa's always singing to us.
Yeah.
Do you ever remember not having enough food to eat because times were hard for your families?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't remember, when are we going to get the next meal? Because my dad worked, he was a hide buyer, and he worked in a big warehouse that had all kinds of groceries and everything.
Oh.
So a lot of times they would pay him in groceries.
Oh, okay.
So we had a lot to eat. Yeah. Besides, we raised most of what we ate.
We had to eat and eat.
What about you, Grandma? Do you remember a time?
Yes, lots of times.
Go ahead.
I remember one time that we lived way up on the ranch, and my dad went out and the only thing, he usually shot a rabbit for us, or quail or something, and he couldn't find anything this time, but one of those old sandhill crane, or those, big old long-legged cranes. He brought it home, and my mother cooked it up. It tasted so much of mud she couldn't stand it, but us kids thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. You made a
What
crane.
does kids know?
Yeah, they didn't know.
We were glad to eat something. If we didn't, it would be bread and gravy for breakfast, bread and gravy for lunch, and bread and gravy for supper.
I can sing you a little song about our food.
Okay.
On Monday we eat bread and gravy. Tuesday it's gravy and bread. Wednesday and Thursday it's gravy on toast. But that's nothing but gravy and bread. Friday it's rye bread and gravy. Saturday whole wheat instead. But Sunday's a treat. My mother was a great cook on Sunday. We wouldn't get meat, but we'd get gravy without any bread.
Let me tell you, my mother, but we always fed our cows grain, they big old sacks of grain, but it wasn't clean like what you like to make whole wheat bread. But my mother would take it, and I'd see her blowing it, like it would bleed beans and blow it. And then she'd make this bread, and it was so good. She made our sandwiches out of it, and the teacher would sit there and watch. And one day she asked my little brother if she could have a taste, and he gave her a taste. So my mother made two all and sent it into her, and she evidently ate it all because she came back, that was the best bread. But what does your mother make it out of? And he says, oh, she just goes out to the cow barn and uses some of their, no, some of their oats, not shame on me. I don't know whether she ever asked for any more bread or not.
Oh, that is hilarious. I can't even imagine that. Okay,
What you doing?
what were your favorite toys and what were they like? Your favorite toy as a child?
toys. I remember one Christmas I got a new bicycle,
Okay.
so I rode that until the wheels were gone.
Grandma, what about you?
Was a little, well, my mother made us us girls each a cloth doll, you know, and with buttons for eyes.
Oh, sweet.
And when I got my first little Botten doll, it was this little Betsy Wetsy doll about this long, and I thought that was the greatest thing ever because it wet.
Oh.
It stuck.
Doesn't sound like something I'd be interested in right now.
After the twins being at the house,
You're over that?
I'm over that.
Okay, what were your favorite childhood games?
Post office?
What's post office?
Where you stamp it,
Oh, you mean, well,
like spin the bottle.
define childhood.
You tell me. Is this a game you played with Grandma?
I don't think so.
I don't know, I played all, marbles was a big favorite of mine when I was very young.
Okay.
Draw a circle and always carrying around a big pocket full of marbles.
Oh, wait. I don't think we played marbles. Grandma, what about you?
Well, if I was playing with the girls, and see, I was born in a bunch, middle of the boys in the family. So if I was playing with the girls, it was hopscotch and jacks. If I was playing with the boys, well, I got out there with that little homemade gun, and I could shoot just as straight as they could.
I was pretty good at jacks too.
Jack?
Hey, I used to play with my sister. And you know those things where you throw the ball up and you go,
Yeah. Pick up the jacks.
yeah, man, I was good at that.
Your mother
I was good at hopscotch too.
Girls.
That's true, I see
Oh,
you do.
boy.
Because you're athletic.
But your mother had a pet bird, and she used to play jacks, and she'd put him on the back of her head, and he'd fly down. And Scott loved that bird, and he was younger than Trey. He opened it up and just loved it to death.
To death?
To death. Like this.
Oh,
But he loved it, I mean, really.
you what a going mess.
Oh, he wasn't that bad.
It sounds like that mouse this morning. Okay, what subject in school was always the easiest for you?
Jim?
PE? Sports? Okay, Grandma? Art. So we have the artist and the athlete here.
Math came fairly easy too.
Math.
Yeah.
Well, what was your who was your favorite teacher? And why were they special to you?
Oh, probably Mrs. Lyons. And she was our drama teacher also in high school.
Because you guys went to school together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where we met.
Freshman year.
Hey, how did you guys meet each other? I'm sure we'll get to that question, but let's ask them now.
You want to tell the story or shall I tell the truth?
You watch it.
This is for posterity.
There you go ahead.
Well,
Lay it on.
I sit on one side of the room behind Shirley Smith, and the new boys sit over by the windows.
I want you to know
Oh
that
wait, stop on me.